So expanding brackets times everything outside the bracket by everything inside the bracket. So you get y cubed plus 3y. Same again here, everything outside by everything inside. So 2 times 3 is 6, w times w squared is w cubed, and then we can get minus 10w. Expanding double brackets together, we're going to use FOIL, so we're going to do the first times the first, so that's going to be w squared. Then we're going to do the two outside ones, which is going to be minus 7w, the two inside ones, which is going to be minus 2w, and then the two last, which is going to become plus 14. Remember, we're times and everything here. Then we can tidy up in the middle, so we're going to get w squared minus 7 minus 2 is going to become minus 9w plus 14. Same again, first times first, x squared. The outside terms are going to be plus 3x, the inside terms are going to be minus 10x, and then the last terms are going to be minus 30. And again, we can do plus 3 minus 10 because they're both x terms, which gives us minus 7x minus 30. Factorize fully, we need to put a bracket back in. So common number between 9 and 12, the highest one is going to be 3. And then what have I got to times 3 by to get back to this? So that's going to be 3m. Don't forget also there's an m common here, so we're going to have to have an m outside the bracket as well. So we're going to be 3m times 3m is going to make 9m squared minus 12mp, so I'm going to have minus 4 to get the 12. The m is already here, but I'm going to need a p. 6w plus 10x, there are nothing common with the letters. The highest number that goes into 6 and 10 is 2. So then inside the bracket we're going to have 3w to make 6w plus 5x to make 10x. Right, factorizing the quadratic, we need to find numbers that add and numbers that times. So we have to add to make 9 and we have to times to make 20. Two numbers that are going to do that, go through all your pairs of numbers and make 20. So I've got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 are the ones I want. There's nothing in front of the x squared, so I can go straight to my two brackets where I've got an x at the start of both, and then these two numbers, plus 4 and plus 5, go in the brackets. When there's a number in front of the w in this case, I've got to do the same process, but with my times in number, they have to times to make 8 this time, and they're still added to make minus 9. So my factors are going to be 1 and 8, and if I need them to make minus 9 when they add together, I'm going to have to do minus 1 minus 8. I'm going to split that term in the middle, so I'm going to get 2w squared minus w minus 8w plus 4. And I'm going to factorize the first part, and I'm going to factorize the second part separately. So in the first part, all I've got common is w, and I'm going to have 2w minus 1 in the bracket. Keep the minus sign that's in the middle. And then common in 8w and 4 is going to be 4. And then in the bracket, I'm going to have 2w. And then to make plus 4, if I'm times it by minus 4, I need minus 1 here. I've got these two brackets to be the same, which is what I was looking for. So my two brackets are going to be that 2w minus 1 that I've got repeated, and everything outside of brackets put in the other one. So the w minus 4 makes the second bracket. Work out the equation of a line. To find the equation of a line, I need two things. I need to be able to fill in y equals mx plus c, where m is going to be my gradient and c is going to be my y-intercept. Now my y-intercept is the point where it goes through here, so I know that that's going through at minus 1, so c is going to be minus 1. To find the gradient, I need to look at this as a bit of a triangle, and I need to look at how much it grows divided by how much it's wide. So the height of this triangle here, if I just look at this positive part, the height is 3 and the width is 1, 2, 3 as well. So my gradient is going to be 3 divided by 3, which equals 1. Then I can fill those two values into mx plus c to give me the final equation. Y equals 1 is my m, so I'm not going to write that, x, and then c minus 1. The point lie on the line L, find the equation of the line. So if I do a quick sketch where these 2 points are, minus 3, 5 is going to be somewhere here, and then 1, 15, minus 15 would be lower down here. So I've got minus 3, 5, and I've got 1 minus 15. So I've got 2 points. I need to find the equation of the line. So again, I need to use y equals mx plus c. So the gradient, again, if I look at this as being a triangle, how much has it grown in height? Well, the y value here is 5 and minus 5, so that's 20. And then if I look at the x values, it's gone from minus 3 across to 1, so that's 4. So my gradient in this case is going to be 5, 20 divided by 4. But obviously, because it's sloping this way, it's going to be minus 5. To find c, I'm going to use one of these points in my equation. So my equation is y equals minus 5x plus c, because I now know the gradient. I'm going to use this point, so my y becomes 5, and my x is minus 3, so this is minus 5 times minus 3 plus c. So I'm going to get 5 equals 15 plus c. So I can rearrange this now to find out what c is. So I'm going to get 5 take away 15 equals c, so minus 10 equals c. And then I've now got c, I've already worked out m, so I can rewrite the equation as y equals minus 5x minus 10. Similar thing for question coming next, but the difference is I don't have to calculate the gradient because it tells me that it's parallel to this, so that tells me the gradient has to be the same. So I can start straight away with y equals 2x plus c. Now I'm going to use this point to find c, so I'm going to get 5 equals 2 times nothing plus c. So 5 equals nothing plus c, so obviously 5 equals c, and then I can go back to saying that that's 2x plus 5 is my final equation. Complete the table of values for 3x squared plus 1. So I'm going to do the x squared first. So minus 1 squared is 1, times by 3 is 3, add 1, 4. 2 squared is 4, times 3 is 12, add 1 is 13. Plot the graph. So the first point is across to minus 2 and up to 13. The second point, minus 1 and 4, 0 and 1, 1 and 4, 2 and 13. Be a little bit more careful about your plotting than me because you need to make sure they're accurate. And then I'm going to do half a curve that way, and then I'm going to do half a curve that way to make sure I go through all the points. Remember, you can't use a pencil and ruler to draw a curve. Shading regions. So x has to be bigger than 3, so I'm going to draw a straight line up at x equals 3, because every point on that line has got an x value of 3, and if I need it to be bigger than that, I need to be that side of the line. Y bigger than 1, I'm going to draw a straight line across at y equals 1. And now if I need my y values to be bigger, I'm going to draw arrows to represent I need everything above that line. So far I'm just looking at this section. For x plus y less than 5, I'm going to do a quick table of values. I'm going to choose some x values from down here, so I'm just going to go for 0, 2 and 4. And I'm going to work out what my y value would be for this equation to be correct. So if x is 0, 0 plus something equals 5. So 0 plus 5 equals 5. 2 plus something, 2 plus 3, and then 4 plus what? 4 plus 1. I'm going to plot these points, 0, 5. So at 0 it's 5. At 2 it's 3. And then at 4, 1. So I'm going to plot those 3 points, and I'm going to draw a straight line between them. Now to work out whether I need to be above or below that line, I'm going to test a point. So I'm going to pick a point that's above that line. So I'm going to pick this coordinate here, 5, 4. So I'm looking at the point 5, 4. Now if I put these into this equation and it's correct, I know I need to be above the line. If it's incorrect, I need to be below the line. So the x value is 5. So 5 plus 4 is not less than or equal to 5. So I need to be below that line. So I need to be above this one, to the right of that one, and below there. So the only triangle I can colour in is that tiny little one there. Next question. Write down the coordinates for the minimum point with the equation y equals f of x minus 4. Minus 4 means the entire thing is going to drop down 4. So this x coordinate of 5 is not going to change because my new graph is going to be effectively down here, and this is just going to have gone down 4. So this point is going to become 5 minus 2. F of x minus 2 in a bracket. Now we go the opposite way to we'd expect here. So the whole thing is going to shift to the right by 2, so it's going to be somewhere over here this time. Now in this case, the y coordinate is not going to change because I haven't moved up or down, and the x is going to go 2 across, so that's going to become 7, 2. Y equals f of minus x. That means we're going to flip it. Everything above is going to go below, so those points there are not actually going to change, so it's just going to stay as 5 and 2. Solve 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. So we're going to factorise that the same way we factorised earlier on. So we're going to add and times. We're going to add to make 5, and we're going to times to make 4. Numbers that do that are going to be 1 and 4, and they're both going to be positive. So I'm going to split the 5x. So we're going to have 2x squared plus x plus 4x plus 2. Factorise the first bit and second bit separately. So in here all that's common is x. So we're going to get 2x plus 1 in the bracket. Keep the plus sign. Common in here is 2, and we're going to have 2x plus 1 again. I've got the brackets that I want. Don't forget, because this is an equation we're equal to 0 all the way through, so this is going to become 2x plus 1 and x plus 2 in my brackets equal to 0. Then we're going to split and say that either the first bracket has to make 0 or the second bracket has to make 0. From the second one, it's quite easy to see that x would have to be minus 2 to make 0. This one you might need to solve by taking the 1 over first. So then we're going to get 2x equals minus 1. So x is going to be equal to minus 1 over 2. Or you could write it as x equals minus a half. Solve this one. The big hint here is it says give your answer to 2 decimal places. So we're going to have to use the quadratic formula. As soon as you see anything about 2 decimal places, you know that it won't factorize and you're going to have to use the quadratic formula. So in this case, A is going to be 2, B is going to be 6, and C is going to be 1. So x equals minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1, all divided by 2 times 2. So then I'm going to tidy that up slightly. So x equals minus 6 plus or minus the square root of, work this bit out, so this is going to be 8, so this is going to be 36 minus 8, so that's going to be the square root of 28 divided by 4. At this point I'm going to split it into my two possible options where I break the plus and minus into 2. So I get x equals minus 6 plus the square root of 28, all divided by 4, or I get x equals minus 6, take away the square root of 28, all divided by 4. Use your calculator to type those in and get your 2x values. So the first one, I'm going to have minus 6 plus the square root of 28, and then I divide all that by 4, is equal to minus 0.177. And the second one, I'm going to do minus 6 minus the square root of 28, and then I'm going to divide that by 4, and I'm going to get minus 2.82, and they're my final answers.